I know that like one thing they did for sure back in the day was uh regional difficulty variations. That was a thing for sure. Like a good example of that is Contra Hardcore. Um, like I could never fucking beat that game for Sega Genesis. Like it was fucking impossible. Um, I didn't beat it until they fucking released the that collection, the Konami collection, because they added the Japanese version to it, and the Japanese version, you actually, because the Sega Genesis American version, it's one-hit kills like regular Contra, like one-hit kill, but the difficulty is so ramped up that it's like it's fucking impossible, or next to impossible. But the Japanese version, you actually have like a life bar, like you have like 3 hits or something like that. And the thing is that like clearly when I played it like that, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Like it was clearly made with the Japanese difficulty in mind, because it's doable. Like it's still difficult, but it's like it makes sense, the difficulty, because you actually have 3 hits before you lose a life as opposed to just a one-hit kill. And it kind of pissed me off because I was like, wow, like pretty much like, you know, since the 90s, like I've always thought like, man, I just fucking suck at this game. And it's like, no, they just ramped up the difficulty for America. For like what reason? Like it clearly wasn't developed to be that hard. It was developed to have, you know, the life bar, and they took away the life bar. So fucking stupid. So basically it's like I can't think of the word. Artificially, that's what I was looking for. It was artificially made difficult by removing the life bar. So yeah, there were definitely those regional differences with difficulty. And I know that like there was, you know, some shady stuff that went on with like I don't know if you guys have ever heard this story, but the Lion King, the like Super Nintendo Sega Genesis game, whoever developed it, I don't know if it was like I forget if it was Disney's decision or what, but like essentially they also artificially made that game harder than it needed to be, because it had to do with rentals, with video rentals. So like for whatever reason, I guess they thought like if we make games more difficult, then it makes people rent it more. So it was like a money making thing, like so like a game that should have been like, you know, not that hard, because it's one of those games that has like a difficulty spike that's like super crazy. Like the first couple levels are like pretty simple and easy, but then it spikes in difficulty, and it probably shouldn't have. It should have been like a little kid game, you know. But anyway, yeah, they did it just for fucking, because of rentals. Pretty fucking ridiculous. Scotty said, yeah, that game is notoriously difficult. Yeah. And again, it's like it's artificial. Like they, you know, they did it on purpose. Just that's what makes it shitty. And to me, it's kind of like a dumb idea, because it's like, speaking from experience, like if I ever like rented a game and it was like super fucking hard, like in a not fun way, it didn't mean that I was going to come back and rent it again. I wasn't like, oh, you know what, if I just rent it, if the next time I rent it, I'll be able to beat it. Like that's not what occurred to me. Like if a game was just like stupid hard, I was just like, wow, this game is fucking stupid hard, I never want to play this again. Like I think they didn't, basically they had no respect for, they just thought you know, people that played games were just a bunch of dumb kids, and they didn't understand that like kids were also going to be like, yeah, I can tell that this is like ridiculous hard, like it's not fair, like I'm not gonna play it. Like people know what's fair and like what's not. You know, a Disney game was actually pretty good, was Aladdin. I don't know if you guys have ever played Aladdin. Huh. Just for like a, like, you know, kind of action platformer type game. I know it's Aladdin, so it's like, you know, the theme or whatever, the license is kind of cheesy, but like the game itself was actually like really fucking fun. Really well made game. And not surprisingly, the guys that, the team that worked on that game, they're the guys that went on to make Earthworm Jim. So when you play Aladdin, it makes sense too. It's like, oh yeah, like a lot of the ideas that, you know, were kind of there with that game, like they really perfected with Earthworm Jim. And then it was just cooler because like Earthworm Jim was just like a cooler kind of vibe. But yeah, they went on to make Shiny, I guess, Shiny Entertainment or whatever. Where I said that he's talking about rentals. They probably figured it was like an arcade, just one more try thing. Wasn't that on the Genesis? Yeah, Lion King was on it was on both. It was on Genesis and Super Nintendo. So was Aladdin too. They made two versions, for one for Super Nintendo, one for Sega Genesis. There's a collection, I think. I don't know if it's on PC, but it's on console, like on PlayStation, I think. Um, I don't know if it's on Switch, but it's on PlayStation, where it's got Aladdin and Lion King. And I think it has both versions, like the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis versions. What's actually really cool is, and it sucks because it's only on, I think, PS4 and Xbox. Like, they never made it for Switch. God, this level is so dark. But there's something called the Disney Afternoon Collection, and this is the level where I'm gonna fucking die, I think, a lot. Because these, if the difficulty is ramped up, like, I'm not gonna make it past this fucking level. Because these rats, like, the rats, like, never fucking stop. But anyway, yeah, the Disney Afternoon Collection, and it's got like DuckTales and the Chippendale Rescue Ranger games. I can't remember, I don't know if it's got Darkwing Duck or not. But it's basically what it is it's all the Disney Capcom games for regular Nintendo. Which they were on a fucking roll in the 90s for making these like Disney licensed Nintendo games. Like, they were all fucking so good. Particularly, I think everybody knows at this point, but that fucking DuckTales game, man, like, that NES DuckTales game is like gotta be like one of the greatest platformers ever made. Like, I mean, it's up there, if not better than like some Mario games. Like, it's so fucking good. It's even better than like some Mega Man games. Like, it's just like, it's a perfect fucking game. Like, it's a 10 out of 10 perfect fucking game. And there aren't that many 10 out of 10 perfect games, but fucking DuckTales is for sure. There's the like remake that they did, which is kind of cool, but I don't know, it's just not the same as the original. The original is just so good. I like that like chiptune music and stuff too, and you know, when you play the remake that they did, it's like The graphics are cool because it's like, you know, it looks more like the cartoon, but you know, you kind of lose the chiptune scoring. So, but I know a lot of people still like that. Disney also had some really good games on Sega Genesis. The like, there's three Mickey Mouse. There's like a Mickey Mouse game, a Donald Duck game, and then one that's like Mickey and Donald. And like those three games are also like, I would say they're pretty perfect games, and it's probably because they were developed by Sega. Like Sega in-house developed those three games. There was a bunch of other Mickey Mouse games too, but a lot of them sucked. You have to be careful like which ones you're playing. You have to make sure you get the three that were done by Sega in-house. Those are the good ones. I think it's like the first one is Castle of Illusion, and then I think Quackshot is the one that's with Donald Duck, and then I can't remember the name of the third one, but it's got both Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse, and yeah, that one's really good too. Castle of Illusion is a really cool game too, because it like, I remember like, I don't know what it was about it. It was just, I don't know if it was like, because it was kind of like a little like aesthetically like dark and murky or something, but like I remember it kind of gave me like a weird like creepy vibe when I was a kid playing that game, because it was like an early oh fuck these zombies. It was an early Castle of Illusion was an early Sega Genesis game, and I remember renting that one a bunch actually, and yeah, it always felt like, I don't know if creepy's the right word, maybe haunting. I don't know. It was just, it had a vibe to it. It probably doesn't. It wouldn't feel that way now to anybody who plays it as an adult, but it's just one of those things that like, you know, as a kid, you know, just kind of felt that way. I probably couldn't even recreate that feeling now if I played it now, but I do remember feeling that way then. Jesus, these fucking rats, man.